I gave Diablo 4 a lot of tries, and never has it hooked me like it's hooking me right now with the Lord of Hatred expansion. Lots of streamers, lots of creators, and lots of players are echoing this sentiment, but I think I have a little bit of a unique perspective as I don't have the Diablo 2 nostalgia. I never really played Diablo 3. Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2 were my ARPGs of choice, and I never really expanded out into other games of the genre. Well, Diablo 4 was the next one on my list with Lord of Hatred. I thought, I need to try this game, give it a really fair shot, and broaden my horizons. Even if I end up not enjoying it, I'm going to push myself through just to understand how this game is designed and what the devs are doing here. Well, I pushed my way through the story, I enjoyed it thoroughly, I'm in the end game now, and while I don't progress nearly as fast as others, I'm having a great time. I'm going to have a greater review out on my main channel eventually once I've given it a real fair shake and beaten some of the bigger challenges in the game, but I thought right now I'd give my general thoughts on the second channel. If you'd like to see these more raw, quick thoughts for myself, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and here we go into my thoughts on Diablo 4, the Lord of Hatred. Let's kick it off with the story. I thought it was decent. I enjoyed it a bunch. I thought the voice acting was phenomenal. A lot of the story beats were great twists that I did not see coming. I did not like a lot of the longer NPC-driven sequences in which you need to stand around and you cannot skip the dialogue or cutscenes. They are drawn out, and I understand why Diablo 4 has a campaign skip now. I don't really only want to play through this campaign a single time. Additionally, many of the boss fights were much better than the core game and the Vessel of Hatred, which I also played but immediately bounced from after I finished the actual campaign. Mephisto and Inarius were my favorites. I even had to fight Inarius multiple times because I kept disconnecting right after the boss fight and getting kicked out. And there's no save status on quests, so you had to restart from the very first story step and go all the way through and fight Inarius again. So the Blink Boy, I had to encounter him many times, but it was a really fun fight. Mephisto 2, the final boss fight, had the 2 phases, and I loved many of the second phase abilities, especially the one shot where he draws you into his mouth, and if you get bit, you die. I died once to that. And the abilities that stole your own skills and scattered them across the arena. I'm hearing the Uber version of Mephisto is a sight to behold, so I am going to try to push to him, although I don't know if I'll have the time before the next Path of Exile 2 expansion, but I really want to give this a go. Now, let's move into what I actually played. I played Paladin, self-made build, no guides, just working off vibes. And remember, I have no experience with this game really, so I don't know what's good, don't know what's bad, don't know the right gear to get. But the Paladin skills, they felt really cool. I really liked the leap. The combat, though, felt really janky for a while, and it still does in certain ways. For example, the animations of monsters and the animations of your character are not as fluid as other games I'm very familiar with. However, some of the jankiness was a player issue, a skill issue, because I was having some major resource generation problems, which led to my character just standing still if I wasn't reacting fast enough. So once I figured that out, reoriented a few of my skills, it felt a lot better to play on my Paladin. And then additionally, I gave my father's Warlock a try. He's using some sort of claw build, and it felt so much better than the Paladin. But my Paladin is already in the mid 60s, so I don't really want to restart right now when the PoE2 season is coming very soon. So maybe next league I'll give it a go in Diablo 4. I'm also going into something I'm not a fan of the open world. I just think that it makes the game bigger for no real reason. It doesn't really add anything to the experience. Hell Tides are all right, but I just feel like the open world exists to give you a mount to use to run around in. My biggest favorite thing with the war plans is the fact that you can just press tab, press teleport to each of them, and you're brought to one of the endgame activities instantly without the need to zoom around the open world. I remember that's something you had to do in the base game and the Vessel of Hatred, and that is something that I do not miss at all. Something I do miss from other games like Path of Exile 2 is pause. Please, Blizzard, implement a pause feature in the game. This is something that would be huge for dad gamers like myself. I've had to walk away from the keyboard multiple times and even log out. And the fact that when you log out, it does not save your last position and it restarts your quests a lot of the time really sucks. I had to redo a bunch of quests due to my lovely family. Now here's some praise for Blizzard. The wardrobe system in Diablo 4 is peak. Grind Gear Games, please take some notes from Blizzard here. I love playing Fashion Wars, and I was able to so easily in Diablo 4, and there are so many great looks that aren't from purchased MTX, at least on my Paladin right now. On the environments themselves, they are beautiful, they are fascinating, but I do feel like I'm just zooming through them on my horse and rarely seeing them. In the dungeons, when you're forced to be on your feet, you do get a chance to look and smell the roses, and I do appreciate that, but in the open world, once again, you're just flying past everything or blowing up crap in Helltides. Quickly returning to the end game and the war plans. This is where I always bounced in Diablo 4. I'd play the campaign, play the story, and then leave because the end game was not good. I just did not enjoy it. It felt like there were too many things I was managing. There was too much running between point A and point B. Was not great. Now, with war plans, this is the ultimate elk and go playstyle if you're a Path of Exile 1 player, where you can just say, here's what I want to do, and then teleport from each endgame activity with very little downtime. This is amazing. I love this. This has actually hooked me. I thought after the campaign I was going to be done. I gave war plans a go, and I'm loving them. I'm also liking the skill tree associated with the war plans that are changing up the way the nightmare dungeons work, which are my current favorite activity in the game, but also the other side activities, well, like Helltides, Infernal Hordes, and even the pit. I also have to say the difficulty, at least for me as a noob, ramps way faster than Path of Exile 2 in maps when swapping between tiers in Diablo 4. This could be a complete skill issue on my part, but the game feels very hard, and then I have to really pay attention to the monsters I'm fighting, what I'm dodging, what I'm not dodging, use my health potions all the time. I'm not really blowing stuff up with my current build. Like I said, probably a skill issue, but man, I could figure out Path of Exile 2 way easier than I could Diablo 4. You know what else I'm also really enjoying with Diablo 4? The way that less but more valuable loot drops, and how constantly I'm upgrading all the items on my character. It feels like almost every single run through of war plans, I'm getting another valuable item or multiple valuable items that I can equip. And even if I'm not, I'm salvaging them for the resources that I can then use to craft using the cube or just basic crafting functions like tempering to make better gear. This is something that you don't really get in Path of Exile 2. A lot of the time you can go hours, even in early game, without upgrading your gear. So at least from this noob's point of view, that's another W for the Lord of Hatred. I'm only about 12 hours into gameplay. I spent 5 hours in the campaign, 7 hours in endgame so far. I'm progressing Torment tiers right now. So we'll see how my thoughts evolve by the time I get my main review out on my big channel. But those were my early thoughts. Let me know, does my sentiment echo with you guys? Do my thoughts make sense? Is Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred good now? I would say D4 good. And this is coming from someone who I think was unnecessarily hateful to Diablo 4 and really caused a fissure between the two communities years ago. And I regret it. I regret it. I know I've said it in a past video, but I still feel bad. So glad to see Diablo 4 in a much better place now. I enjoy it way more than I used to. I hope you do too. Make sure if you liked the video, subscribe, share it with a friend, and like the actual video. And watch this next video on screen right now, which is probably related to Path of Exile 2 or religion.